Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Sunday frequency meditation. Welcome to August's Sunday frequency meditation. As we've shared, we're now meeting once a month instead of every week, and it's not because there's less to discover, but because real change it comes from giving what we've already seen time to move from the mind into the body. Throughout the month, we'll keep bringing this awareness back through our posts and conversations that allow something to become something you live, embody, not just something you understand, not just another aha moment. So with that, let's start tonight's session. Just take a breath in right now. Notice where you are, where you're situated. You're standing, lying down. Maybe you're walking, doing the dishes. Just notice you, kind of like that observer noticing yourself. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed that even when everything is quiet, there's a part of you still waiting? Maybe waiting for a message, waiting for a decision, waiting for someone to reply, maybe waiting for your health to improve, or for that sale to go through, or just generally waiting for life to finally move. And sometimes it's obvious, but sometimes it's so subtle you hardly notice it. But here's the thing, from a frequency level. While you're waiting for what's next, a part of you quietly steps out of the only place your life is actually happening. So tonight, we're not going to try and do a manifestation series or anything, we're going to try and make what you're waiting for arrive any faster. But what we're going to do is we're going to notice, we're going to bring awareness. Notice what waiting does inside us. And as you discover that the place you've actually been waiting to reach has never been somewhere ahead of you in time. It's never been somewhere ahead of you. It's here. So if your eyes are closed right now, just open up your eyes. Look around at that environment outside of your body. Just observe it. Maybe notice the atmosphere of it. Not so much the activities that are going on, just the overall atmosphere. And then close your eyes and come into this other environment. We have this inner environment where the skin stops everything inwards. And right now, just notice that environment. Maybe they're not that different right now. Maybe they are. And just notice your whole body. Come into your body, not your thoughts. Feel your feet wherever they're resting. Maybe notice how much of their weight is actually here on the floor and how much has maybe quietly leaned forward towards something that hasn't even happened yet. Feel your spine. Notice if it's stacked directly over you, or maybe it's angled slightly forward. You know, that kind of way a person leans when they're listening for a car in the driveway that isn't even there yet. Notice your hands. Feel your hands. Notice if they're still or they're quietly holding something that isn't actually there. Are they a bit clenched? Phone, decision. Maybe they're holding a sentence you're rehearsing for later. We're not looking to fix any of this or change it. We're just finding it right now. It's almost like white noise. It's been going on for so long we don't notice it. But after tonight's transmission, it'll be kind of similar to like if you're going to buy a new type of car. You've never really seen many of them on the road. Then once you make that decision, you see them all the time. You have that awareness. It comes into your field. So feel your breath without changing it, just a plain fact of air moving in and moving out, whether we pay attention to it or not. Maybe there's some sounds in the room right now. You don't need to name it. Just notice that sound is here too. It's arriving on its own. It's asking nothing of you. And then that other intelligence as well, gravity. Feel the gravity holding you exactly where you are. Perfect equation at all times. Doesn't matter if you're as heavy as an elephant or as light as a feather. That calculation is always done real time. It's dynamic. So you're at the perfect position. You're not compressing into the earth. You're not floating away. So just notice that. How it's doing what it's done. What it keeps doing this entire time without you having to ask it to. What's the temperature like temperature in the air right now on your skin? Maybe it's cooler in some places, warmer in others. Or simply that, nothing more. Feel the weight of your clothing resting on your shoulders, your waist, wherever that fabric happens to sit. It's been there the whole time. Too ordinary to notice until now. And now notice your hands again, exactly as they are. Maybe they're slightly curled, maybe resting flat. Maybe they're making a small movement you didn't plan. And again, just let them be exactly that without correcting them in a better position. So none of this needed anything to change first. It was already here the whole time. The whole time awareness was somewhere else. And this is the part almost nobody stops for. Awareness usually skips straight past all of this. The sound, the weight, the air on the skin. It skips past it on its way to somewhere more urgent. But yet none of it stopped happening while the awareness was gone. It just kept happening patiently, the way it always has, waiting to be noticed rather than solved. That's the part of you that never leaves. And here's the part that does constantly, several times an hour most days, without you ever catching it. And you already know this today before we go any further. Is the phone checked one more time for nothing? Or is the replay typed, deleted, and then typed again? Or maybe it's in the shower where that conversation you had with someone could be days ago. It just plays for that 7th time. Slightly different each time, as if it's trying to get the words right in your head. Getting those words right in your head is going to change what happens outside it. Or maybe you're in the grocery store or the gas station or in traffic, and you're already halfway into tomorrow's meeting before your grocery cart is even unloaded. Just take a breath in right now. And just notice simply where your awareness actually is right now, here in this room. Or are you gone ahead to see when will this end? What am I doing afterwards? Maybe about tomorrow. Now just notice the space just in front of you. Not literally, but the way it feels. That space, just right in front of you. That's where the unanswered things live, the decision, the message, the results. Awareness has quietly stepped out of the center of your experience and gone to stand in that space, holding a kind of, it's almost like a quiet watch, waiting to be told it's safe to return. And then notice the space directly behind you too. That's where the answers that have already arrived are sitting. Just, they're finished, but they're no longer needing anything from you. And now notice this exact place where your spine actually is. Not ahead, not behind, just right here. This is the only place you've actually been able to live. This is the only place that's real, by the way. The future isn't, never will be. It's impossible to reach the future. The past is done, is dusted. Sorry to disappoint you. There's no Akashic records. There's nothing recorded. There's nobody. There's no energy, intelligence that's sitting there reviewing everything. It's a very new age thing, by the way. It's only been around 60 or 70 years. So when people say that they could tap into the Akashic records and read everything about you, we'll just go within, see if it resonates. That's all. So the only place that's you've ever actually been able to live is here, right now. And here's the strange part. Awareness. Awareness is not actually where your body, not actually with your body right now. Standing beside tomorrow, waiting outside a door that hasn't even opened yet. And your body never left. It's sitting here, breathing, exactly where it's been the whole time, waiting for awareness to come back and settle in. This can go very deep, by the way, because there's many, many layers to it. It's like a domino effect once you deprogram one thing. It's really interesting for me. But notice what just happened. Awareness departed your body and quietly went to stand, be like beside tomorrow. And your body never left. Only awareness did. That's the departure. Once you feel it here, you'll feel it everywhere. And this can feel like preparation. You know, as I said, we always have to sign off on every program. So we package it up somehow to justify it. No, it's to justify keep using it. There's always very authentic reasons for why programs come in to help us. But the problem is that I always kind of think that humans are kind of like frequency hoarders, program hoarders. We never want to let go of any. So these programs might feel like preparation, doing the right thing. It's how we sign off on them. But it's awareness standing in a future that hasn't happened yet, while the body waits quietly here, wondering when it's coming home. For most people, many people, they don't come home. They keep getting further and further away. It's kind of like that Bluetooth connection. The further away you go, that connection, that communication, it's more and more unstable. Till eventually, if you go too far, you disconnect. So just notice your spine, take a breath in, and in this moment, maybe just observe what your body is quietly preparing for. And notice separately what's actually happening right now in this exact room. So let those two things be different. They usually are. And notice something else while you're here. However far awareness has traveled, maybe into tomorrow, into the messages after this session, into an outcome. Notice that your body didn't go with it. It couldn't go with it. Your body can only, has only ever been able to be exactly where it is. Every single time awareness has raced ahead this week or today, this evening, your body stayed behind, doing the only thing a body can do, existing right now, in whatever room it happens to be in. That has never once changed. Not one time in your entire existence has your body ever left this moment. It's in this very moment is where that other intelligence, with a capital I, if you like, it resides. Nowhere else. And it's almost impossible to argue with this. Your body has never once actually traveled into tomorrow. Maybe it's imagined tomorrow. It's braced for tomorrow. It's rehearsed tomorrow down to the smallest sentence. But it's never once been there. Like when I say the only thing that's real is this present moment. You can't really argue with that. You can't go back to the past. You can't go, like the body, to the future. So the body's only ever been here. Notice it. It's only ever breathed here in whatever room this is, on whatever day this is, the evening. Every version of you that ever worried about a future moment, you did it, all of that worrying from inside a body that stayed completely, entirely present the whole time. So let's expose this clearer for you. So again, it's very, till you experience it, it's very difficult, it's almost impossible for the mind. Again, it's programs. Blind spots. It's impossible for the mind to make sense of it. You need to have that knowing. That's why it happens at a frequency level first. The mind then catches up. Most modalities out there try and do it the other way around. So take a nice breath in right now. Being here right now, you in your body. And this didn't start as a worry. It started as a bargain. Bargain with yourself, though. No, we're not getting into any of that other narrative out there. Highly exaggerated, by the way. Notice if this feeling's old, not new anxiety. An old post, maybe that you stood at before, long before this particular question you have existed. See if you can feel it, a version of you somewhere back. First learning that not knowing was dangerous, and quietly agreeing to a deal. I will allow myself to settle once I know what happens. Then I'm going to relax. Then I'm going to really start my life. And that felt really responsible. It felt kind of like readiness even. The thing is that bargaining has been running so long, you no longer notice you're making it. You make it about the email, about the results, about the money, about what they meant by that sentence, that pause, that tone. Different question, same old deal, signed again without actually even reading the terms. So notice that you can't actually remember signing it. Nobody sits down and decides today, I'll make peace conditional on certainty. It happened quietly. The way most agreements with fear happen. Small moment, repeated enough times until it stopped feeling like a choice and started feeling like who you are. Breathe in. Notice the breath. Notice how far back this goes. Maybe you can recall. If not, it might come up later for you when you're just doing an ordinary activity. That's how it kind of works. But see how far back you can remember. Maybe there's a moment when not knowing really did mean danger, and staying 2 steps ahead of it kept you safe. As I said, there are valid times when these programs come in. And your body remembers that moment even now, even though the room has changed completely. It applies the same rule to a message that hasn't been answered yet as it once did, or to something that actually threatened you. And that looks ordinary from the outside. From the outside, it looks like, well, just watching one more video instead of deciding, or asking a third friend the same question you already asked 2 other people, hoping this time maybe the answer lands differently. Maybe procrastinating, doing something else instead of making the call. None of that is laziness. It's the bargain still running, looking for the moment it will finally be allowed to stop. The deal was built for real emergencies. Most of what you're waiting on today isn't one. But the deal doesn't check first. It's an agreement, contract. But none of that other stuff people talk about contracts. It's with you. It just runs the same way. Every single time, whether the stakes are your safety or simply it's your Sunday evening. And then let's picture this. Come in. Picture one ordinary evening last week. Nothing happened. No news came. Now, maybe know that there's still some part of the evening was spent leaning towards the phone maybe on the table, or the inbox that hadn't refreshed, or the reply that hadn't landed. A whole evening quietly rented out to something that never even showed up. That's not a character flaw. That's the deal running exactly as it's built to run, efficiently, in a room that never needed guarding, though, in the first place. And just let over the following days, that awareness come to you how much this is running constantly. It'll be shown to you. It'll reveal itself to you, so you don't have to stress about having to be vigilant about or anything. It will show up. This is what the deal actually costs you, not the waiting itself. What the waiting was supposed to buy you and never did. Think of an answer you were once waiting for so badly. You thought peace would finally begin the moment arrived. Maybe it's an answer to a new romance prospect, or a job, or an opportunity, possibility, or a disconnection of something that you've been trying to disconnect from. Or maybe in your own spiritual journey, those nemesis that we have, that we all struggle with it. It's part of being in duality. And it gets released. Just think of something like that. And it came. And somewhere within days, maybe even hours, a new question was already standing in the exact same spot, asking for the exact same bargain. And it feels like patience, but it's actually a contract you keep re-signing with a future that was never actually going to pay it off. That waiting room we built has no exit sign in it. We furnished it carefully, the checking, the rehearsing, the imagining of every version of what might be said. And we've been sitting in it so long, we start to believe that it was simply where life happens. But it isn't. It's a room. It's a room we built. And we're allowed to leave it before the appointment's called. And you know this room. That chair that's slightly a little bit too upright to relax in, or the clock that seems to run slower in there than anywhere else. The old magazines of every worst case version read over and over again. Somehow as if reading them again might finally change the ending. And that's why I kept coming up on the sidelines. You know, it wasn't like the contract is with you. It wasn't built. This room, nobody built this room for you. There's no other energies out there. There's no other contracts with whatever out there doing that. You built it. One unanswered question at a time. And you've been furnishing it ever since because you haven't been aware. Take a breath in. So you haven't been kept from peace by uncertainty. You've been kept from peace by a rule that said peace has to wait for uncertainty to end. Uncertainty was never the obstacle. The rule was. And notice how many rooms like this you've built over the years without ever naming them. Maybe the one where you waited to feel chosen. The one where you waited to feel ready or forgiven. The one where you waited to feel worthy, deserving of the good things that have already arrived. They're different doors, but they're same waiting rooms, redecorated each time to match the question. But here's the thing, once you see the rule clearly, you can't ever fully unsee it. You may still feel the old pull to lean forward towards the next unanswered thing. That pull, it's not going to vanish tonight, and it doesn't need to. That's the real key here. It's the real empowerment. But you'll feel yourself doing it in the moment it happens, instead of finding out 3 days later that you did it again. You'll start coming online in real time. That awareness, you'll receive it. So now let's replace those programs. Taking a breath in. Notice your spine, you and your spine. Spine is in your body. Your body's here always. Let that old rule go quiet now. Not argued with, we're just not going to follow it. We're just not going to feed it anymore. Feel your feet take their full weight here, not out ahead of you. Feel your spine stacked directly over itself, not leaning towards a space where the answer is supposed to arrive. Your hands just resting, holding nothing that isn't actually here. And check in with that inner environment now. See how that's maybe changed or not. But maybe it's more spacious, quieter. You feel more grounded, clearer, precise in space and time. And the question hasn't changed. Nothing's been solved. No message has arrived. No result is in it yet. Something inside you already has. I feel that gap. The gap, the outside, that outside environment. We open our eyes, exactly as unresolved as it was a minute ago. Whatever comes to mind that you might be thinking of. And then inside that inner environment, no longer leaning towards it in the same way, that gap. The gap is a whole meditation. It was a whole shift. Peace was never inside the answer. It was where you were living it from. So nothing outside has changed. The question you walked with is still exactly as open as it was when it began, and yet something in you has notice how strange that is, and that will come more apparent later. Normally, you'd probably think that nothing can shift until the situation shifts. And yet here we are now, still not knowing. And there's something in you softened, already come to rest anyways. That single fact quietly, that breaks, that deprograms, that rule, that program you've been living for years. So just feel that, let that land for you. Again, it's not the mind trying to figure this out. Don't worry if you can't come up with the exact question of what it was unresolved. This is at a frequency level. That awareness will come, as I say. And it's easy to miss because it's so quiet. There's no announcement, no relief arriving from outside, which is what we're used to. Just awareness. Moving itself from ahead of you back to the center on its own. The moment who's actually noticing doing it. The situation's unchanged, but you're no longer standing inside it. So stay with that contradiction rather than resolving it. It doesn't need resolving. Both things are true at once. The unanswered thing, still unanswered, unresolved. And you no longer living ahead of yourself, waiting for it. It's not a contradiction your mind needs to fix. That's simply what center feels like, with an open question still sitting in front of you at a comfortable distance, no longer occupying the space where you actually live. And notice that room behind you, how ordinary the room behind you still is, full of everything already resolved, needing nothing further from you. Now the room ahead of you is still exactly as unresolved as it always was, ahead, behind, and here, at center, the only place that was ever actually available to live in. And you've been standing here the entire time this transmission's been going on. The only thing that's moved was where awareness believed it needed to stand. And this isn't something that you have to maintain. This isn't a project. This isn't the new version of you or the work in progress. It's not a new position to defend the way the old bargain had to be defended, checked, renewed every day. It simply is what happens when awareness stops commuting between here and the front of the room. Nothing's changed, and yet your perspective has entirely changed. And it's not relief because the answer came. There's no answer yet. This is the discovery that you were never actually required to go and wait somewhere else for it. And I'm not asking or suggesting that you stop caring what happens. You don't have to stop hoping, planning, preparing. The only thing that changes is where you do it from. Here instead of out there. Standing in a moment that hasn't happened. Still standing in the waiting room for an answer that hasn't arrived. Just feel how ordinary this is. It doesn't require the situation to resolve. It just requires you stop living in the waiting room you built for it. So tomorrow, we'll come into your field, I think, even clear. When you receive that awareness, when you catch yourself reaching for the phone one more time or replaying the conversation one more time in the shower, that's the signal. And this is important. It's not a failure. You know, on this journey, when we start to get awareness of programs we're operating, well, people who are not that fluent with what we do, they perceive it as a failure, going backwards. It's not. It's a door showing you exactly where you left. It's a swinging door, two ways. You can always go back. But with the awareness, you don't. You become empowered. So when awareness comes of programs come up, old programs come up, we don't bury ourselves. We don't think it's a failure, it's a setback. We know, oh, awareness. That means transformation. And you won't remember this all day, and that's all right too. Nobody does. The old lean comes back quietly, the way it always has, and for a moment you'll even be back in the room again, checking, rehearsing, waiting for permission that was never anyone else's to give. And that's not again you failing. This is simply the next chance to notice a little sooner each time, till noticing stops taking any effort at all. So whatever happens next will arrive here exactly as you are, whatever you happen, or wherever you happen to be sitting. You don't have to go there to meet it. Life has never asked you to wait outside of yourself. Only fear did that. And fear was never your home. So I'll leave you here. Stay here. Let this really land for you. You can listen to this again, not right away. Let a couple days go by. And just observe what comes into your field, what awareness comes into your field. You'll see how Another sense comes in, an ability, whatever you want to refer to. How you'll be able to autocorrect, how you'll be able to come back into this moment, into this room. And I hope everybody has a beautiful rest of their day or evening.